NCAA college basketball for Monday, November 21st. We have 4 games on the card today. Don't forget to check out SBR. Look for those sportsbook reviews and look for those sportsbook bonuses as well. Don't forget to check out the sportsbooks we don't want you to join up, and just be sure to check out SBR in general for a lot of good articles and information. All right, we got 4 games on the card. Really good day yesterday in college hoops. Let's see if we can continue with some momentum. Here we go. Let's jump right in. We got Notre Dame, Colorado. This is in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And I'm going to go under the total here of 146. Now, when you think Notre Dame, you think Mike Bray, up tempo, and that is totally true. They were third in points per possession last year in the ACC. As well, defensively, they were 14th in points allowed per possession in the ACC. So not a really good defensive team, but this year they've done a really nice job. And I think the matchups here with the way Colorado rebounds, I don't see them getting over 146. They're going to score, and it's going to probably get close, but I don't think they're going to get over this number. Really good matchup. You got Notre Dame averaging 88 points per game. Colorado's averaging 82 points per game. Tempo's pretty good on both sides, but defensively, this is what I like from both these teams. So far, Notre Dame, they've been great. Granted, they haven't played much, but they're allowing just 59.3 points per game, as well as opponents are shooting. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry, wrong stat there. Colorado is allowing 59.3 points per game, but Notre Dame's right there too. They're allowing 53.7 points per game, even better. Colorado on the year, they're allowing opponents to shoot just 33.5% from the field. Now, granted, they haven't played much in LA, Louisiana Monroe and Seattle, Sacramento State. So they'll be much more challenged against Notre Dame. But still, Notre Dame, they're defending really well overall. They're allowing opponents to shoot just 33.3%. So I think this is going to be more a defensive game than people realize. Tempo's going to be decent. But at the end, Colorado can really rebound the ball. They're like 6th in the country in total rebounds per game. Yeah, that's a correct stat. And, Tad Boyle does just a nice job. They got a pretty good club this year, too. So that's going to be interesting. 3-pointers are going to be shot a lot, but I think they're going to be able to defend enough. So I'm going to go ahead and back under the total with Notre Dame and Colorado. All right, next one up. Oklahoma State and Connecticut. Now we got Brad Underwood coming over from Stephen F. Austin, taking over for Oklahoma State. And just check out check out these statistics. Right now, Oklahoma State ranks first in the country in points scored per game, 107 points per game. Sorry, let's go ahead and get to the pick. We got Oklahoma State, UConn. I'm going over the 146.5. That's a pretty high total for UConn, a team that's allowing just 64.3 points per game. But Oklahoma State, I think they're going to be able to control the tempo. Now, this game's in Hawaii. Connecticut's just been really wonky this year. Kevin Ollie, I don't know what's going on with them, but right now they're not playing particularly well. They did win their last game finally against Loyola Marymount, but they started off the year, 0-2. We'll see if they turn things around. They still play good defense, but I think the way the tempo is going to go, and I think Connecticut is going to be happy in Hawaii to go ahead and just run with the Oklahoma State team under Brad Underwood. They're just going to get up and down. Right now, they're averaging almost 70 attempts per game, ranks in the top part of the country. And, UConn is pretty good defensively, but the way Oklahoma State's playing overall, I just like the tempo and for both these teams to score. Oklahoma State, they're allowing opponents to score 75.7 points per game. That is not very good. And they're also allowing opponents to shoot right now about 41%. That's semi-okay. But they're also allowing opponents to shoot 42% from distance. That's weird. They're allowing opponents to shoot opponents are shooting better from distance against Oklahoma State than they are just on their 2-point shots. So they're not defending the perimeter very well. And, they're going to move the ball around. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does with this Oklahoma State squad in the Big 12. They haven't played absolutely no one yet. UConn's a big step up in class, but I think they're going to get up and down, and it's going to be kind of a track meet with these two teams. So I'm going to back over the total. UConn, I think they could score right now. They're shooting 46. Excuse me. They're shooting 46% on their 2-point shots. Oklahoma State, they've just been out of their minds. I mean, they're shooting well over 50% overall. So I like for this to get over the total. I'm going to go ahead and back over that 146.5 with Oklahoma State and UConn. All right, let me adjust some papers here. And the next one up, we got Texas and Northwestern. We got Shaka Smart and Chris Collins. Pretty interesting matchup here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to back under the total of 142. I really like the way both these teams have played defense, and both these are really Both these teams have really good coaches. Now, Texas last year were kind of in the middle of the Big 12 statistically, offensively and defensively. But so far this year, they've really ratcheted things up. They are really shutting guys down. Texas so far this year, they're allowing just 61.3 points per game. That's really solid. Northwestern, they're allowing just 68 points per game. Not great, but I think it's good enough to keep us under this 142. Texas, they're going to try and get up and down. You know you're going to get pressed with Shaka Smart, but Chris Collins is a good coach for Northwestern, so I think they're going to be able to break the press, but will they get up enough quality shots? I doubt it. You got Northwestern, they're averaging 82.7 points per game, a little bit more than Texas, so both teams were averaging over 80, yet odds makers have set the total at 142, and the reason for that is because you got a team in Northwestern, they're allowing opponents to shoot overall just around 41%. That's pretty good. And Texas, they've been great. Right now, they're allowing opponents to shoot just 33.5%. That ranks in the top 10. Northwestern's going to struggle to score tonight to keep up with this. But I think they're going to do enough defensively to go ahead and keep us under this total. This is a pretty good matchup here. This is also the second game in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn after that Notre Dame Colorado game. Excuse me. All right, and we got one more up on today. Let's switch my papers around here. And we got St. Louis versus BYU. Absolute track meet. Right now, odds makers have it at 160. I'm going over the total. I think BYU is going to dictate the tempo here. Now, this game's in Las Vegas, but you got BYU. They're number one in scoring in WCC last year. They're number one in possessions per game. You got Travis Ford now, former Oklahoma State guy, taking over for St. Louis, and he's more a defensive-minded coach. Last year in the Big 12, Oklahoma State, although they didn't perform very well, they were number 2 in scoring defense. However, this team, it seems like they're getting out and running a little bit, and I really think BYU is going to control the tempo. It's on a neutral floor. I like for these guys to get up and down. So far, St. Louis, they're averaging 75 points per game. You got BYU, of course, they're going to get up and down with Dave Rose, 86.3 points per game. And then you got, St. Louis, they're only getting up 56.7 attempts per game. But here's the thing for me. Then you got BYU, who again, is a team I think is going to control the tempo. Right now, they're getting up 64.7 attempts per game, but they're allowing opponents to get up 76.3. That is a lot. That is a lot of attempts to give up per game. But BYU loves to go up tempo, and they're putting up points. Both teams are shooting respectably. St. Louis is shooting just about 44%, over 46% on their two-point shooting. And then you got BYU, as well. They're shooting about 47% from the field. They're just going to get up a lot of shots, and I think they're going to drop as well. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to take over the total with BYU and St. Louis. All right, quick recap on these games here. We got Notre Dame, Colorado. I'm going under the 146. That's the one in the Barclays Center. Next one up is Oklahoma State and UConn. I'm going over the 146.5 in a game that I think Brad Underwood is going to control the tempo, and I think UConn's going to go ahead and run with them. That game's in Hawaii. Texas Northwestern under the 142. That's in the Barclays Center as well. I think Shaka Smart and Chris Collins, two good coaches. I think they're going to keep this pace reasonable, and Northwestern's going to struggle to score a little bit. And finally, St. Louis and BYU over the 160 in a game I think is going to be an absolute track meet. Those are our 4 NCAA picks today on the totals. Please go ahead and check out my NBA segment as well. Don't forget to check out SBR, and I wish you luck on your picks today.